Welcome back to the Wandering Wind, and today I want to talk about something that has been frustrating me for the majority of the past year, and that is the frustrating situation with several major groups of people, but mainly right now I have a particular passionate frustration against a group of people that profess to be feminists, in that they want to push the issue of feminine culture. They want to address the issue of sexism and sexuality, and just overall issues about objectifying women and stuff. I have no problem with that. I have a problem particularly with several people that have taken this premise, this ability to speak out and say whatever it needs to be said about women's rights and women's issues. I'm all for that, but they take this and then they put it on the male gender, and they turn this into a toxic masculinity issue. Here's the problem I have with this, and please don't get it twisted. Please don't interrupt and don't click away just because I start talking about this. I just want to speak in a candid but very calm and very cohesive manner. Toxic masculinity is not the only issue. Okay? I admit toxic masculinity is an issue in modern day society, mainly because there are plenty of male figures in media, in popular positions of fame and fortune and power and whatever, that pervade and perpetuate the issue. Yes, there is an issue with toxic masculinity. However, I want to address the fact that there is an equally problematic opposite side of that coin, which is toxic femininity, or the hatred, direct hatred of men from feminist women. Now, why do I use air quotes when I say feminist women in this context? Well, I want to differentiate between true feminists who only seek equality and stability and an equal measure of productive self-image and general image for women. I agree with that kind of person. What I don't agree with is the people the feminists that like to take their victim stance of being a woman in modern day America and use it as a platform to demonize and even somewhat bully men. One of the main names that comes to anyone's head when they hear of these issues is probably everyone's least favorite feminist, Anita Sarkeesian. And in fact, over the past few months, she's had quite a bit of negative publicity that she takes as any publicity regarding her practices and kind of her contradictory actions versus her remarks. What I mean is, several months ago during a convention in Anaheim, California called VidCon, which is a video creators convention for YouTubers and online personalities, where we come together to learn more about how to do our job well, and we also become better acquainted with our fans, hopefully. During one of these panels at this convention, which was an anti-cyberbullying panel, Anita Sarkeesian was one of the panelists at this event, and she deliberately calls out a member of the audience by the screen name of Sargon of Akkad, and proceeds to call him a douchebag, a garbage human, a shitlord, shithead, you know, every name under the book, in the book, and above the book, and proclaims her victim status towards both him and others who even merely mention that they have a problem with some fact that she's said or some statement that she's made. And while I agree that there are levels of abuse and attack that she has suffered, she treats any and all response in a negative manner as a personal attack. And this is the image of a toxic feminist that I kind of want to cultivate, but not fully, I don't want to fully persecute, because I don't know Anita's story. I don't know her background. I don't know if she's got issues with stress or anxiety or whatever that makes her feel as if everyone's against her. I don't know if there's underlying issues which fuel this behavior, but at the same time, I cannot and will not excuse her actions towards a member of an audience at a panel who had no ability to even begin to answer the accusations and insults that were being leveled at him, because she was in a position of power and he was just a member of the audience. Granted, he was in the front row, and according to her, there were several detractors of hers sitting towards the front, and this was a directed personal attack to intimidate her and get her to feel unsafe. She even went as far as to call security for the issue. But this isn't the only issue in the past 12 months that has caught my attention. There have been several times in her weekly feminist frequency show where she, or even more frequently, I'm not sure, but she has a channel here on YouTube called Feminist Frequency, where she talks about different issues in feminism and the toxic masculinity that she tries to preach as gospel, which is not completely true. Not all men are toxically masculine. Me? I'm more of a gender neutral kind of person. I don't identify as gender neutral, but as far as being feminine or masculine in behavior, I kind of like to think that I fall in the middle. I don't act overly effeminate, and I don't act overly masculine or aggressive either. I'm more of a middle-of-the-road kind of guy. I get angry when there are issues that frustrate me. I also get sad and upset when there are issues that hit me right here in the heart. But I don't feel that I'm the kind of person that Anita would be talking about. Although, if she were to ever see this video, she would obviously start detracting against me on principle, because that's the way she's conditioned herself to be towards any and all negative criticism. It's just a fact of who she is, and I don't think she even intentionally does it much anymore. It's just a conditioned response, and I understand that. But you've got to understand that there are more issues than that. For example, she likes to take modern video games and even modern films and take bits and pieces and nitpick and find reasons why, oh, this pervades and perpetuates the masculine agenda, this perpetuates toxic masculinity in mainstream media, this perpetuates the damsel in distress. She tried to make that argument with Zelda Breath of the Wild, that Breath of the Wild is nothing more than the same story over and over again, with the damsel in distress, the male hero, and the issue that the damsel cannot find a way out of. But if she would have even played the game, which I'm not so sure she did, she would have found out that during the whole game, until the end game when you finally go to fight Ganon, Zelda's actually holding Ganon back the whole time on her own. She's actually using her ability, her power, and has been for the past 100 years, to keep Ganon at bay. Does that sound like a damsel in distress? Or just a hero in need of a rescue? I don't know. I feel like the topic of toxic masculinity is misleading, because it's not just one-sided. As much as we would like to think that women aren't abusive and aren't aggressive towards men and aren't detracting towards men or towards even other women in such a way that it makes people feel bad, as much as we would like to think that the feminine species is the better, we're all on equal footing. And we have bad members of both sides of the issue. And I'm not saying that that's bad. I'm not saying that one side is worse or one side is better. Because to be honest, if I were to say anything like that, then you could go ahead and immediately strike me down with lightning, because I'd be a complete and total asshat for that. But what I want to help you understand tonight is that this is an issue of not just male versus female or black versus white in the case of the race wars or anything like that. This is a humanity issue. No matter where the line is drawn, there's always going to be a culture clash between one group of people and another. There's always going to be people that think that the other side is wrong and that they're right, or that they deserve to be on top and the others have to serve them. And it's going to be the same issue throughout the whole of time. But we need to understand that there's not just one side to the issue. Either in the feminist issue, or the Black Lives Matter issue, or whatever issue it is that comes up or makes itself known. Because to be honest, in this day and age, we cannot afford very much longer to be a one-sided, one-dimensional argument, because all it does, really, is nothing for us. It does nothing. It does nothing to help us. It does nothing to sustain us. It does nothing to make us better people. All it does is perpetuate an issue where two sides do not want to agree and do not want to compromise, and they just want to make each other feel bad. Anyway, that was my piece that I wanted to say on that. If you guys want to help me make more videos and more content that explores and addresses issues like this, I have a Patreon where you can sign up for a once a month payment of however much you want. And sorry about the work in progress images, stuff like that. This was the only GIF I could find for Patreon. But if you want to help me to create better content, teach you guys about YouTube, about other things, or even just keep my lights on, because to be honest, running a computer and stuff does take energy. You can support me for $1 a month, and that would be a great way for you to help me and for me to help the world. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys learned a little from this video, had a bit of a think, and hopefully came out the wiser for it, because I really only want your best interests at heart. I only want you guys to learn and be better. And if that takes my example or the example of others, then I believe that that's great. If you that's okay. If you had to take an example from yourself, I think that's even better, because that means you've learned so much that you can self-reflect and learn that way. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys have an awesome evening and a wonderful Thursday, and I will see you guys tomorrow.